haven't got to formally meet everybody. We've met informally. And I want to thank you for, when you came into your orientations, you went through those with Gina, who filled in for me as I was out of the district, and I appreciate that greatly. Tonight is our reorganization meeting. It's the only meeting that I call to order. So tonight I call the meeting to order, and then in a couple minutes I'll ask you for nominations for a chair for the school committee. The way that works is once I get a nomination, I will ask for a second. If there are multiple people, I will ask for multiple seconds and go through the process. Whoever's nominated first is voted on first. Once I have a nomination and a second, I will ask for any discussion. If there's no discussion, I will call the vote. Once the vote has been taken, if it is in the affirmative, I pass the meeting over to whoever has been elected chair, and then he or she will repeat the process for the vice chair and the secretary. Are there any questions before we move forward?
No.
Excellent. So at this time, I'll open the floor for any nominations for chair of the Hollis Brookline School Board.
I would like to nominate Carol Roy as chairperson of the Hollis School Board.
Excellent. Do I have a second? Second. Excellent. So I have a nomination and a second. Is there any discussion?
Carol Roy's been doing a great job. From the 1 year that I've worked with her, she's been, the deep history now going into this school board. She's very organized. She's very sharp. She definitely knows what this school board is about, and I think she'll do a great job taking over the position of chairperson. So I feel very confidently in her nomination.
That was really nice. Thank you.
That's very honest.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? 5-0, and I pass it over to you, Carol, and congratulations.
Thank you, Superintendent Corey. Nice to have you here. And thanks to everybody for being flexible on the meeting time, courtesy of Mother Nature's wicked little April snowstorm we're eating tonight. So now we're going to call for nominations for vice chairperson of the Hollis School Board for the 2024-25 term.
I nominate Michelle Lawler for vice chair for Hollis School Board.
Any seconds?
Second?
Second by Anne. Any discussion?
I also work with Michelle on the PTA, and Michelle has some incredible skills in terms of being able to listen to feedback and incorporate it into planning for the future, and conducts herself in a very professional and kind and generous way, and she will be a valuable vice chair.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Vote for yourself. 5-0-0. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, and now I will take nominations for secretary of the Hollis School Board for the 2024-25 term.
I nominate Anne Wake de Pasquale. Sorry, I have to roll that.
Any seconds for Anne? Excellent. Discussion? I'm a member. I'm going to discuss.
Okay.
Anne has been a member of the Hollis School Board for the last year. She's taken on a lot of administrative roles and leadership roles on different committees. Very valuable member of the team, and I would love to see her succeed in this role.
Thank you.
All right. All in favor? 5-0-0. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. So we have to appoint 2 members as signers of the manifests. Andrew, do you want to just discuss that really quickly so they know what that is?
Sure. The signers of the manifest will receive information from the business office via email, which is basically all our expenses related to that month. And they will electronically approve those expenses, which allows us to pay the bills. And at any time, if you have a question about any of the expenses, or you would prefer to do them in person, you are welcome at the SAU to come in and physically sign them, as well as to go through anything and speak to Donna or Kelly if you had any questions about why something is the way it is. It's a very important role. I think it teaches people a lot about how the district works, because you see every manifest. So from the electric bill, the water bill, all the things that sometimes people forget go into a business. and you realize, how much of our operation is fixed costs. Okay, so that's basically the role there, and then if you are selected, Donna will get your signatures, so we have those for the accounting department.
Yep, I think both Ann and I have been signers, well, I know I have, I think you have as well.
Yes, and I think it's kind of noteworthy. It was recommended to me as a new member to take this on because just to kind of get acquainted with kind of what Andy was saying, how the school spends money. It is not necessarily a rubber stamp, though I pretend that most times, things have been pretty well vetted and there are very good reasons for them, but it is okay to ask a question. There was, when there's something that's a large expense that I just don't understand, I ask, and it's always responded to very, expediently, very thoroughly. No one's going to be offended if you ask a question.
Not at all.
But
Ask me how
I
know.
always look through it, and it has been very informative being in that position.
Yeah, absolutely, and it is something that you could do from home. Sometimes it's nice as you guys are new board members to get into the building, into the SAU building, and get to know the staffers just kind of by being present. Because the first year I did it wasn't available. You had to go in and look at paper, and so it was like, here's the everything for the month, flipping through all this stuff. But it is something that's electronic. Are there a couple of you that would be interested in participating on that? Ralph, I see you. You guys want to take on that?
Yeah.
Would you like me to put you as alternate, Michelle, or do you want one of the, or just traditionally one of the, does it matter?
It's whoever has the availability to get there in a pinch.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't, well, we did have to fall on you a lot as alternate, but we don't usually have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that
So-
was fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't mind that. It was very easy, and I knew it was coming. So we'll appoint members Zach and Lehens to our. We had a whole discussion for those of you at home about pronunciations of last names. So forgive us if we giggle and laugh through them for the first meeting or so. So Rafi and Michelle are going to be Jessica are going to be appointed as signers, and we'll have you as the alternate. Sound good? So we're still ahead of schedule a little bit. Andy, do we want to move on to a different item on the agenda, or should we start the public hearing a little early?
Well, we can't start the public hearing.
Oh, that's
early.
right. We can't start early.
But we can move and do the minutes for last month.
All right, sounds good. So we want to approve the meeting minutes from January 3rd, 2024. The three of you new members will abstain since you weren't on the board during that, so that will just be Ann and I. So Ann, you and I will need to do our motioning and seconding. So I will accept a motion to approve the minutes from January 3rd, 2024.
I move to, from January 23rd, you mean January 3rd?
Yes, sorry.
It's
January
okay.
3rd,
I just wasn't sure if I
2024.
was looking, like, did we meet them?
No, yes.
Yes, so I move to accept the minutes of January 3rd as amended.
I second that. Any discussion, Ann? Do we have anything to say?
No appropriate changes there, so we're good.
Sounds good. All right, all in favor of accepting the minutes?
Yeah.
All opposed? All abstain? Three of you. Got it. 2-0-3. So funny. That hasn't happened before.
And then with the chair's permission, I'll run through the principal's reports.
Sure, we do have one, we have
Oh, you have another set of
several,
minutes? Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I actually
few.
have a question about the non-public minutes because I didn't see any non-public minutes. So how do we, because there's supposed to be approval of non-public minutes, and it's asked to accept as presented.
If they weren't posted, then what you do is you don't take action on it,
Okay,
and then we'll have Dawn bring them back to the next meeting.
okay, perfect, thanks. And then we have the special meeting on February 13th and the district meeting. Should we move all of those as well
You can do
along?
those, yep.
Okay. I'll take a motion on, it's still you and me here.
I move to accept the minutes from the February 13th, 2024 public hearing as presented.
I second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? All those abstain? 0-3. I'll take a motion on the annual meeting.
And I move to accept the minutes of the annual meeting as presented.
I second. I wasn't at the annual meeting. Can I still vote on this because I was in member time?
Yep.
Okay, just wanna make sure.
Yep.
Any discussion?
It was a good meeting.
All those in favor? All those opposed? All those abstain? All right, and those are, motion carries. All right, we still have about 5 minutes, so if you want to run
Yep.
through those principals' reports.
I'll do
So-
that. For the new members, every month, Paula and Candy put together their principals' reports and try to give you a little bit of a flavor of what's going on. It's very helpful for those people who become board members and don't necessarily have children in the schools. When you have children in the schools, you feel much more involved. But as we've had members who are just community members, it's really helpful for them. One of the things we will always provide, is the monthly enrollment breakout. That's one of the things we're watching very closely. We're one of the few communities in New Hampshire that is seeing enrollment growth and rapid enrollment growth. So Paula and Candy will always provide that. As you see, Hughes was -2 and the primary was +1. Historically, our enrollment's pretty much approaching some of our historical highs. So we are in the process and have an ongoing enrollment committee looking at that topic, which you'll hear more about at future meetings. In terms of significant events, it's just a couple things I wanted to mention, is we're doing Ames web testing, which is our benchmark to see how our children are performing, and those results will be coming out. And our third graders took their New Hampshire SAS testing, and those went very well. And at HPS, we did add an additional set of fobs. So now it used to be you got in the first set of doors and you were in the building. Now you're into the foyer and you have to be allowed in again, either via your fob as a staff member or through the main office. And when we discuss the safety grant tonight, we're going to talk about some renovations to Hughes front entrance that I'll go over with you. I want to thank the administration, the staff, and the students who participated in the solar eclipse. They had a ball.
They had so much fun.
They really did. It was a great event, and the staff volunteered their time, and I really commend them because it turned into I think a more significant event for students than they potentially realized when they started into it. It was just, my friend signed up, so I'll sign up. And then it became the eclipse. It was very well received, and they did a great job. In terms of the primary school, they are doing a newly named podcast, which is Hawk Talk Junior, and that'll be being developed, which is very exciting as we see kids again moving into technology. And then at both HPS and the upper, we are in trimester 2 report cards are available on 3/29, and any parent who has any questions can contact their child's teacher or the administrator. And it was great. And then lastly, Hughes had their annual talent show. This has been going on for a number of years, and it's just a wonderful event where kids really get to show off talents that we don't necessarily always see during our academic day. And that's great for them because if I'm not the person who shines in math, science, or history, but yet all of a sudden my peers realize I can sing or I can dance or I can do something that's specific to me, that's such a self-esteem builder. And I commend them for all their efforts there.
That show was absolutely extraordinary. The teachers perform at the end every year, and they did a Taylor Swift mashup, much to the joy of every Hughes female student. But they also, it's not shown on here, but they also do a craft fair. So the kids who don't want to go on stage, they can make crafts and sell it. So they sell it before and during intermission for the show. And then they actually get to go out and take bows as well as part of the program. It's a lot of fun. There's one act that's really cute. These kiddos all of a sudden got terrible stage fright last year. And so somebody came up with the idea of why don't you turn all the lights off and put like glow sticks on you and you could be stick figures and sing in the pitch black so you don't see the audience and you can't get afraid. And they crushed it. And they came back this year with like 6 or 7 friends who also were too afraid to perform, but they're like, but I can sing in the dark.
Right.
And it was so cool. And they were all these like stick figures with glow bodies on the stage. It was super cool.
You do a great thing. Great. So that's it for the principal's reports.
Awesome. We are just a few seconds, I think. Oh, right, here we are, 6:15, perfect timing. So we're gonna open our public hearing. Do I need to pause our regular
you're going to recess the regular board meeting to open the public hearing.
That's right. Here we go. I'm gonna flip to my. All right, I'll accept a motion that the board recess until the conclusion of the public hearing.
I move to,
Do you want me to read it and you can just say so moved? Would that be helpful?
yes, because I had my outline up and I took it away to look at the grant.
I'll accept a motion that the board recess until the conclusion of the public hearing on the acceptance and expenditure of FY24 unanticipated revenue associated with the Security Action for Education SAFE grant.
So moved?
Any seconds? Everybody seconded. All right, pick one. All right, all in favor? Excellent. So the board goes into recess at 6:15, and we will reconvene after the public hearing is over. Right, hand to you, Andy.
Yep. Tonight's public hearing is to seek approval from the board, which we'll do later on during deliberations, to accept the money that has been allocated to Hollis from the state of New Hampshire under the SAFE grants. We're very happy to report that all our schools received $100,000 apiece to address safety concerns, and we've been using this for a number of years to kind of really enhance our safety protocols. And I want to publicly thank Kelly Seeley, who's our business manager, who works behind the scenes to not only secure the grant, but then to monitor the grant and make sure everything is accounted for. The SAFE grant this year, again, is to increase access controls. So we're doing two things. Access control in the case of HPS means replacing the glass with school guard glass in as many entry doors as we can. School guard glass is not bulletproof, but it is made of a composite material that takes you about 10 to 12 minutes to break through. So it would take you quite a while. And what we've learned from the tragic events that have happened across the country is minutes matter. So by increasing the security of all our doorways, along with our fob systems and locks and everything else that we do, we believe this will really enhance that. When you put on top of that, we have the community resource officer in our district, as well as the police station right around the corner. We feel that this is the next step for us to really enhance it. And the final stage at HPS will be looking at their front lobby and redoing that. In the case of,
Can I
yes,
ask you a question?
sure.
So when you say it takes 10 to 15 minutes to get through, but it's not bulletproof, do you mean like with bullets it would take 10 to 15 minutes, or do you mean with a crowbar, or you mean with
A
bare
crowbar,
hands?
I'm not sure I would give the same 10 to 15 minutes with somebody standing there with an automatic weapon. But it is going to be much harder than any of our doors are now. But if you were there with a crowbar or a hammer, you're going to be there for significant 10 minutes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
At Hughes, access controls will be to renovate the main entrance. What we'll be doing is we'll be adding what I'll call like a bank teller window, so that when you walk into the Hughes lobby area, right on your left will be a window similar to the bank teller. We have them at CSDA, RMMS, the middle school, and the high school. And it allows the receptionist to be able to identify the person, speak with the person, take any small deliveries, like if you're dropping off a check for the lunch program or whatever, you don't even need to come into the building in that case. When you combine that with the security cameras on each entrance, it's really going to give us a great visibility as well as security for our students. That is out to bid, and we expect bids to be back April 15th in very short order. One of the things that we deal with in schools is we only have summers to do renovations. So it's a very short window of 10 weeks, and we've done some monumental projects, so I don't think this concerns me at all. The biggest problem that we've encountered in the past is getting the glass for the bank teller window, because it's specialty made and it's a unique size. So that's what we're looking for when we vote later tonight to accept that. That's what the $100,000 at HPS will be used for, and that's what the $100,000 at Hughes will be used for. And again, as I told you, there are specific accounting requirements that we need to proceed through. And since we have 3 new board members, we're audited annually. So all our books and everything are looked at, and everything is gone over, whether it's a federal grant or whether it's a taxpayer's bill that is paid by the community. Are there any questions on the SAFE grant proposals?
What's the name of the glass again?
Let me use.
School guard.
School guard. The glass that would go in the bank teller window, that'd be the same school guard glass.
Yes.
Is there, just out of curiosity, is part of the reason using the school guard glass versus something that's like truly bulletproof, that a price difference?
It's a significant price difference.
Yeah.
And we have our schools audited by the State Homeland Security. And they feel this is, really a great setup. And they're the ones who have really instructed us to move to these lobbies. So basically, you're going to get into the lobby, and you can't go anywhere except back out unless you're granted entrance by an administrator or a secretary.
Gotcha.
Good question. Thank you. Any other questions?
With the windows, will it be replacing all of the outside windows, or will it be done in phases?
We'll start with the doors.
Okay.
And we'll start by recommendations through our local police department and Homeland Security of where they have the greatest concerns. And that's usually in areas that have low visibility.
Sure.
And then what we will do is, once we make our way through the building, you'll see an FY26 budget asking for money to finish off that process.
Perfect, thank you.
What will happen with the money in the interim? So is it being held still by, those granting us the money, or do we put that somewhere, holding space? We have the $100,000. What do we do with it for the next year?
Right now, that money has not been sent because this public hearing, the board could actually reject taking the money. So we hold the public hearing. If the board accepts the funding, then Kelly will notify that it has been approved. And typically, we have to front the money, and then the state sends us the reimbursement.
Okay. So basically, just it doesn't matter that it won't be until FY26. They'll still reimburse us.
Well,
at the time.
the doorways, the 100,000 will be here probably in the next 8 weeks. What we don't accomplish with that 100,000 will be in FY26 budget.
Okay.
Okay.
And that won't be covered by a grant. That'll be like us.
That will be us unless, once again, if the security grant comes out again.
Gotcha, yep.
But with the security grant, they usually give you an idea of what they're looking to fund. So if they do, I'll say, hardening access to the buildings, next year might be for security cameras, radios, things. So it does vary. So we'll tailor, obviously, our request to whatever the money is geared for.
Gotcha, okay.
Thank you.
In the case that, let's say, there was a delay in procuring the glass, what happens in that if it doesn't, if it weren't to make it in time for the end of the summer?
Well, what we would do then is we would look at, the first one I think would be in November, where we have the Veterans Day weekend. And then we would utilize the Thanksgiving holiday, the Christmas holiday. We had to do that with one of our bathrooms this year. We weren't able to complete it during the summer, so we did it over a vacation period. The one with the missing drain. Yeah. We try not to have workers in the buildings when students are in the building, even though we go through the required background check with everybody, even if they're just here in the summer when no children are in the building. But we really try to avoid that. So the other thing we would do, if it had to be done, we'd probably enter into a contract for second shift. So start work at like 4 o'clock. The key ingredient usually of the public hearing is the public. But
Yeah, I was gonna say if there are any other discussion points from the board. Okay. Well, I'm gonna open the floor for public comment at 6:24 p.m. There is nobody here right now, so do we give it a minute? Do we close it?
You can close it whenever you see fit, because it was noticed. And just for the board, this is a typical crowd, but I can assure you that if something is wrong and we're not doing something correctly, there will be a crowd. So lack of a crowd is an affirmation.
Yes. That said, I'm going to declare the public hearing closed since we have no public tonight, and that's going to be at 6:25 p.m. Excellent. Thank you, everybody. think we have to come out. We have to unrecess. Is that, where's my, I don't have any there. Should we just automatically reconvene? Or do
It's
we need to-
automatic because the
Okay.
motion was that you recessed it to the conclusion of the public hearing.
Got it. So we reconvene at 6:25 PM. And at this time, I'll entertain a motion that the board by roll call go into non-public session pursuant to RSA 91A:32, Section A, the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee, and C, to discuss a matter which if discussed in public would likely affect adversely the reputation of a person other than a member of the body or agency itself.
So moved.
Second? We need to do a out loud roll call.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start on your end.
Jessica Lehens.
And wait, Deep Pasquale,
What is there a different way I should say that?
Just say aye or,
Aye.
yep. There you go. And you voted already?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Rob?
Raphael Zach, aye.
Michelle Lawler, aye.
Carol Roy, aye. We are now going into non-public at 6:26 PM. We will come back out and resume the meeting after we're done. public at 6:55. All right. Do we have any agenda adjustments?
I do not.
Okay. And so we're moving into nominations, resignations, and correspondence.
Yes, I have a couple pieces. All right. First, I have a nomination. I'd like to nominate Cheryl Craig, C-R-A-I-G, for computer science for the 24-25 school year. She'll be based at Hughes. She has a bachelor's in business administration from Daniel Webster College. She would be on the bachelor's step 12 at a salary of $66,971. Candy and her team have gone through the regular process where we have a team of teachers meet with that, and they then recommend 2 candidates to the SAU. Neither the assistant superintendent or I meet with both candidates and make a final selection to bring forth. Very seldom do we differ from the committee unless we were to learn something during the reference checks. So I'm looking for a motion to nominate Cheryl Craig.
Looking for a motion to accept the superintendent's nomination of Cheryl Craig for the position of computer science at a bachelor's step 12 at a salary of $66,971.
So moved.
Second? All in favor? 500.
Okay, let's sign that one in a second. Next, some of you may recall Sam Boudreau. Sam was a longtime computer teacher here in the Hollis School District. A couple years ago, Sam moved over to the Co-op School District, and Sam is officially resigning her position from the Hollis School District effective June 30th, 2024. After 12 wonderful years, and she didn't take it lightly. She has had the privilege to grow both professionally and personally, and her experiences have been invaluable, shaping her into the educator that she is today. She is grateful for the support, mentorship, and camaraderie that she's received from her colleagues, administrators, and the entire Hollis community. While I am saddened to leave behind a place that has become a second home to me, I am super excited to move to the Hollis Brookline Co-op, effective July 1st, 2024. This new opportunity allows me to continue my journey in education and bring fresh perspectives and experiences to my new role. Sam was fabulous here, and she's fabulous there. So this is kind of, to me, a win-win. And it's with deep regrets that we see her go, but I'm also very excited to formally welcome her on July 1st at the co-op. So I just need a motion to accept her resignation.
I move to accept the resignation of Sam
Boudreau.
Boudreau from the position of computer science teacher at the Hollis Upper Elementary School with an effective date of June 30th, 2024.
Second? All in favor? 500.
Oh, thanks to Sam.
With regrets. She's gonna
Yes.
have to teach somebody else how to do the slideshow. for the
Yeah, I
sixth
think
grade
she is.
promotion ceremony.
I'm sure she's going to be talking and coming back. Next, I have a resignation. I am writing to resign my position at Hughes as of June 30th, 2024. I want to sincerely thank you for the opportunity to work with such a wonderful staff. Please let me know if there is any additional steps that I can take to assist in this transition process, and that is from Angela Lebrecq up at Hughes.
I move to accept the resignation of Andrea Lebrecq from the position of fourth grade teacher
Fourth grade teacher.
at the Hollis Upper Elementary School with an effective date of June 30th, 2024.
Second? All in favor?
Super.
500.
And lastly, I am writing to inform you that I'm resigning from my position as school nurse at Hollis Primary School. My final working day will be June 20th, 2024. My time at HBS has been enjoyable, and I really appreciate the opportunity to work with such wonderful children. I wish the faculty and students the best of luck in the future. I am happy to do what I can to help with the smooth end of service to HBS. Sincerely, Jennifer Rochlow.
Regrettably. Move to accept the motion, to accept the resignation of Jennifer Rechelot from the position of school nurse at the Hollis Primary School with an effective date of June 20th, 2024.
Second? Ralph? All in favor? 500. Thanks to all of those folks for their service.
Yes. That is it for nominations, resignations, and correspondence.
Excellent. Well, we already went through our approval of minutes prior to our non-public. So we are opening the public input period now at 7:02. Seeing no public, we'll still leave it open for 30 minutes in case anybody does arrive. We'll hear them out. In the interim, we will move on forward. We did hear the principal's report as well, so we'll move to discussion. Revenue expense update.
Okay. In your packet, you have the March 22nd revenue expense report. You'll see that we have a budget underrun of expenses right now of $727,718. We have some unfilled positions, and savings and benefits due to that, which is kind of what's showing in the excessive amount of the 727. We have not spent the 95K contingency fund, that is still there. And we're showing a small deficit in the school board line, though, due to advertising and legal fees being over budget. For our revenue, we are expecting $17,231,960. So with the expense, with the underrun of the expenses and the revenue, we foresee an unreserved fund balance of $755,277. We then fund the trust funds that were voted on in March, the $125,000, the $23,970, and the $25,000. We also asked the board about a retained fund balance. Last year, you approved $284,000. If we do the same this year, that will leave us with a projected fund balance of $297,307, which is technically what goes back to the taxpayers at this time.
So, thank you, Donna.
Yep.
Any questions or comments for Donna on revenue and expense? All right, seeing none, we can move on to our deliberations, I believe. Our first one is to see what action the board will take regarding the acceptance and expenditure of the Security Action for Education, or SAFE, grant.
I see no reason not to accept this grant.
Okay, we need to have a motion.
Oh,
Can I
I'm
accept a
sorry.
motion? To approve the acceptance and expenditure of the Security Action for Education SAFE grants in the total amount of $200,000.
Would someone else
I move we accept this grant. Let me see the, sorry, I just closed this trying to find.
You can also just say so moved, because
So
I
moved.
read it all. There
Great,
you go.
so moved.
And a second.
Second.
Excellent. All those in favor? Thank you. Actually, I should have said, any discussion before we voted? I'm just moving right through the thing, because we talked so much about it when we actually saw the presentation. Excellent, okay. And now we're moving into to see what action the board will take regarding general assurances grant guidelines. Andy?
In your board packet, you were provided with a lengthy document, which is the general assurances for FY25. What that is, those are the requirements that we are required to follow as the superintendent, as the assistant superintendent, and the business manager. They outline the specifics of how to apply for the grants, how to account for them monthly, and that information all goes to the DOE through the grants management system. Our auditors come in the early summer, and they will go through the grants program, and they will look to make sure that we are in compliance. The superintendent, the assistant superintendent certification that we hold requires us to adhere to this. And about 6 or 7 years ago, it was asked to be brought to school boards, which we have done for the last 7 years approximately. And the board chair just signs off on each of the pages at the end of the document, saying that the board was made aware of the general assurances. They understand that it's part of the accounting practices, and that it's part of our audit, and that if there were any discrepancies, they would be brought to the budget committee, because we're a budget committee town, as well as the school board. When the audit is a clean audit, it goes to the budget committee and typically doesn't come to the school board. But if there are items that are identified, it goes to both entities. And I'd be happy to take any questions. It's something that is done on a yearly basis. And I'll again compliment Kelly, because ultimately she's the day in, day out person of running the assurances along with Gina, and does a fantastic job.
Andy, has this document changed since last year?
No,
Okay.
no, it's basically the same document. It just
You
really,
just update the year.
yeah, it's really just formalized the process, because in a lot of communities, boards didn't necessarily know what they got for federal grants. And we, just so you know, we received Title II. Title II can be used to reduce class sizes or for professional development. We receive IDEA, which is our special ed grant. And we receive the federal funds for the food service program. So in the grand scheme of things, our federal dollars are very limited, because much of what is determined is based on your free and reduced lunch percentage, and ours is not that high compared to the state.
So, any other questions? I'm happy to take a motion if anybody wants to make one.
I move to authorize the board chairman, General Sherson, yes, to present the school board and represent the school board and acknowledge that the superintendent has consulted with all members of the school board in furtherance of the school board's obligations, including those enumerated in RSA 189:1-A, and pursuant to the school board's oversight of federal funds district will be receiving, and of the general assurances, requirements, and definitions for participation in said federal programs.
Second? Ralph? Any discussion? Seeing none?
No.
All those in favor? 500. Thank you. All right. Our next motion, or next discussion point, excuse me, is to see what action the board will take regarding teacher nominations. I'll take a motion.
I move to nominate, to accept the superintendent's recommendation for teacher nominations as presented.
Second? Any discussion? Seeing none? All those in favor? 500. Motion carries. Our next point is to see what action the board will take regarding the proposed 2024-2025 school calendar. Andy?
In your board packet, you have what I would call a very traditional school calendar for Hollis and Brookline and the Hollis Brookline Co-op. We'd be looking at an opening day of August 29th. We have professional development days outlined on there, as well as early release days. Focus on both of those opportunities, professional development and early release. For the new board members, we are in the midst of updating a math program. So that professional development will be spent there, as well as we are in the process of looking at some professional development for literacy. Those are the two major topics, and you'll be getting further information on that in your May meeting. We traditionally will schedule voting days as days of professional development, so that the schools are not occupied, because our high school has voting in it on major elections, and our Brookline folks vote in their gymnasium at CSDA. We're looking at a final day of school to be the 20th. There are 5 days built in for snow. If we go beyond that, we extend the school year. This year, we did not need to extend it, even with our April storm. It still put us at the 5, so that worked out very well. And the last day for teachers would be June 23rd, again, pending snow. The same calendar is approved by Brookline and the co-op, because one of the major pieces that we share is transportation. So it's important that we are not running extra runs for buses. And I'd be happy to take any questions.
Andy, April vacation's really late, isn't it?
I think it's the latest it can be next year.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's not following the normal week after Massachusetts?
Massachusetts will be the 21st.
Really?
Is there a reason for that?
Massachusetts is always the Monday is the
Patriots Day.
Patriots Day, thank you.
Boston Marathon.
Boston
Patriots Day.
Marathon. So that is always traditionally their holiday, and then we're the following week. And it's been like that forever. There are some districts in New Hampshire that do the same week, but that's more because of their economics might be based around snow and things of that, so they have always planned it so they would have more workers available on the week of that vacation. So it is late.
Okay.
So just to clarify, the reason it seems like we're starting early, it's because there are more half-days and professional development days this year because of those programs that we're training teachers on.
No, it's the same starting day. It's the
Really?
Thursday before Labor Day.
Yep.
Gosh, it feels early.
The 3 days before it are teacher workshop days.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Oh, I thought the 29th.
it's just the
Okay.
way that the calendar falls
Yep.
this
This
year
year.
that it looks
Gotcha.
weird.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Just a note on the important dates section. It has the last day for teachers at June 20th. I think.
Nope, thank you
June
for,
3rd.
thank you for catching that. I'll get that
Oh.
changed.
Wow.
Teacher's gonna be like,
Look
"Who
at that."
said?"
Mhm.
I'm just kidding. So funny.
Thank you,
Good
we'll
catch.
update that.
Good catch, yes.
Excellent. All right. Any other questions on the calendar? Take a motion.
I move to approve the 2024-2025 school board calendar as presented.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none? All those in favor? 5-0-0. Excellent. Thanks, Anna. Our next one is to see what action the board will take regarding the reapproval of policy BCA, Board Member Code of Ethics.
Each year, the Hollis, Brookline, and Hollis Brookline Co-op boards approve a code of ethics that they try to adhere to throughout the calendar year of their service. It is a annual vote on this policy, always done at the reorg meeting, and it is done by roll call vote, so each individual member is affirming that they'll do their best of their ability to adhere to the code of ethics.
I'll take a motion.
I move that the board, by roll call, state agreement to adhere to policy BCA, Board Member Code of Ethics.
Second.
Second.
This one requires a voice vote, a roll call vote, so we'll start. Jess.
Jessica Lahens, aye.
Anne Wake DePasquale, aye.
Raphael Zach, aye.
Michelle Lawler, aye.
Carol Roy, aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Our next one is to see what action the board will take regarding the reapproval of policy DFA, investment.
The investment policy, again, is another annual approval. It is very seldom used. I don't think we've used it in my time here, but interest rates for the first time in the last couple of years are changing. So what it's intended to do is give your business manager the flexibility if there was an opportunity to invest in a very safe and secure, like CD, for an example, and gain investment money interest, that they would be allowed to do that. Obviously, before we would do that is we would come to the board and go through the specifics of why and what we think. But the funds on hand in the school district are not as large as maybe the town, because the town is the tax collecting agent, we are not. But it is something that historically, through the ages, has been used, so we do adopt it to give us that ability every year. And there are years, potentially this year, where that could come into play. For the first time, we are getting small interest rates on what I'll call our regular checking account, which for many years that was simply zero, as we all know. It doesn't generate a lot of revenue, but it is revenue.
Excellent. I'll entertain a motion.
I move to adopt policy DFA investment.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? It's pretty straightforward. All those in favor? Motion carries. Our next one is to see what action the board will take regarding policy ACN, nursing mothers accommodations. The first reading was on January 3rd.
So if you look on the outline, you'll see that, Dawn prepares for us what are some of the comments the last time the policy came up. Hopefully you had an opportunity to review the policy. This brings us into compliance with law. I'm told that basically these are allowances that we always had in place, and this is just making it official that we allow the space and time for nursing mothers without discrimination.
And to be clear, we were always following the law, but the law just changed to require that we had a policy on the books to reflect what we were already doing. I have a quick question since you're our policy guru. Why are we not waiving the third reading and adopting tonight? Can we?
It wasn't discussed at our policy committee, but we certainly could. I
don't-
think it was, I would imagine because it's the first time our new members are getting an opportunity to look at a policy,
well,
but if
yeah.
everybody's comfortable with that, we absolutely can. I have no objections to that.
No, I think we could just bring it then to May,
Yeah,
right?
we'll bring it to May.
And adopt
Yep.
it then.
Yep.
Then let's stick with the second reading. Thank you
Okay.
for discussing. Any other discussion? Actually, no, we haven't even gotten to discussion. It's like a motion. We're talking, we're not talking. It's like we're motioning.
So I'm going to move to accept the second reading of policy ACN nursing mothers accommodations.
Second.
As amended.
Is there a second? You
Second.
can just say second, Raph. Excellent. All right, any discussion?
Since we've already discussed
I'll
Carol.
get it right. I know, right? All those in favor? 5-0-0. Motion carries. And this is to see what action the board will take regarding policy JCA, change of school or assignment, best interests and manifest hardship.
Okay, and once again, this is another policy that's bringing us up to date with law. To address, if you look at the notes that are there from our last meeting, Carol, last time you wanted to know about the verbiage of academy. We did discuss that at our policy meeting. Basically, we're just covering all of our bases. If you look for a definition, it doesn't really delineate whether it's a private or a public. So it doesn't hurt us to have the word academy staying in there. So we decided to keep it as is.
Okay. But you're saying that it just, oh, sorry, I'll wait for discussion. Take a motion.
So I move to accept the second reading of policy JCA, change of school or assignment, best interest and manifest hardship.
The second?
Second.
Raph. Discussion.
And I'll take any questions on this policy that anyone has. I'm not sure, did everybody know you were supposed to read through these policies?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, great. So if anyone has a question.
All right, so my question, because you just said it's only public, or did you say public and private?
Public and private both use the terminology, but if we looked up several ways, like looking up academy, it's not really like an official designation. Like it doesn't say that academy is always a private school or always a public school, because public, charter, and private schools utilize it. For example, I think it's one of the Brookline schools uses academy. I'm sorry, it's like CSDA, yeah. So basically, it's just another way to say school is basically how we interpreted it. So it just kind of covers all of our bases, and we didn't see any reason to strike it.
Okay,
I felt it was best to leave as is.
thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, we wondered too. We have the charter school in Nashua as well, the Academy of Science Design, for example.
Excellent. Any more discussion? All those in favor of approving the second reading? Motion carries. Andy, do I need to officially close the public input, or does it happen when we adjourn? It hasn't been a full 30 minutes.
Then it would happen when we adjourn.
Okay. I wasn't sure if I need to be formal about it. All right. I will happily take a non-debatable motion to adjourn.
To adjourn?
Move to adjourn. Second?
Second.
All those in favor? 5-0-0. Congratulations, you've successfully completed your first meeting as members of the Hollis School Board. Welcome aboard,
Well
guys.
done. Well
Thanks for
done.
being here.